You are watching Access LaPorte County Channel 97. Coming up next is the July 14th meeting for the Michigan City Redevelopment Commission. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Michigan City Redevelopment Commission regular meeting for Monday, July 14th. It is 5 o'clock, a little after 5, and we're ready to get started. At this time, I'd like to call the roll. Mr. Demkowski.
Here.
Mr. Hulse.
Here.
Phil Latchford.
Here.
Sorry, I don't have the names in front of me here. There they are. Thank you. Sorry, Debbie, wherever you are. You tricked me and put them on the bottom. Thank you. So Clarence is here, Phil is here, Sheila Brosa Matias, I'm here, Tracy Tillman.
Present.
Sherry Wilson.
Here.
And Tom, you're here. Thank you so much. At this time, I would like to have a motion and a second for approval of the minutes. We have two sets of minutes, one for 6/9, our executive session, and the other for 6/9/2025, our regular hybrid meeting. I'd entertain a motion. I know we have all had time to look at those.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the June 9th, 2025 executive session and June 9th, 2025 regular hybrid meeting.
I'd like the second.
Great. We have a motion and a second to accept both sets of minutes as written. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. Thank you. Skylar, will you go through the claims for July 14th, 2025?
This is claims department. This is the claims for redevelopment from July 14th, 2025. We had payroll in June 2025. We had CDBG reimbursable staff and commissioners. From our operating account, we had AIM RAI annual dues for 7/1/25 through 6/30/26. We had Beecher business printers, envelopes. We ordered 2,000 of those. We had Great American Financial for RC portion copier fees for 2025, July 2025. Saranac Law Offices for legal retainer for June 2025. From the North TIF, we had August Mac for Trail Creek cleanup. We had August Mac for 2025 activities regarding the Trail Creek properties, Begley and Concord. We had Barnes and Thornburg for legal services and Bloxham arbitration. Barnes and Thornburg for legal services for SOLA. We had Barnes and Thornburg for legal services for Tryon Meadows. We had Butler, Fairman, and Seifert for engineering services for Washington Park Boulevard streetscape. We had Global Engineering for engineering general 8th Street, Michigan surveys. That'd be the properties at the corner of 8th and Michigan Boulevard. We had Gray Bar Electric Company for electric utilities at the SOLA site. That was a relocation of the fiber that needed to be relocated off site. That's actually the city's fiber. So we relocated that. We had Hitchcock Design Group for engineering at Fetters Alley Playground, partial pay. We had Hitchcock Design Group for engineering, Fetters Alley Playground, partial pay. Those were pays 23 and 24. We had NIPSCO for electric services for EV stations at 8th Street. Schneider Geometrics for engineering services. That's the Lake Ave relief sewer. And we had Schneider Geometrics for engineering services for Lake Ave relief sewer. We had Saranac Law Offices for legal services in the North TIF for June 2025. The Chicago Consultants for consulting of Fifth Pine Street development. We had U.S. Bank for administrative fees. That would be our 2021 refunded Wabash Street bond. Wallach, Summers, and Haas for legal fees, Fifth Pine Street development. Wallach, Summers, and Haas for legal fees for our transit center. And Wallach, Summers, and Haas for legal fees at You Are Beautiful. In our South TIF, we had Brasco International for display cases. Those were those were in our bus shelters. We had Global Engineering for CCMG 2025-1 4/28/25 through 5/31/2025. We had Saranac Law Offices for legal services in the South TIF, June 2025. We had Tent Masters. You may recall that we bought some police cars with some of our TIF allocation, and basically this is the tenting of the windows for the police cars. So we had Tent Master for window tent, 11 Dodge Chargers for MC Police Department. ESU Pursuits for purchase of a 2025 Ford Explorer, MC Police Department. I thought I might just explain those a little bit more. It's kind of weird to be on our items. From the 2021 refunded Elston Grove bond, we had U.S. Bank for administrative fees, operations, and reserve fund. 2023 mixed use transit project bond, we had Flaherty and Collins, disbursement request number 19 from construction account, and we had Muni platform for disbursement request 1 from operations and reserve fund. We also have an RFI loan, our RIF, residential infrastructure fund loan. We had Indiana Residential Housing Infrastructure Fund Pay 1, and which is our interest that we have made a pay to the RIF that we received last year.
Thank you. Are there any questions about the claims? Anyone have any concerns or questions? I would entertain a motion to approve the claims as presented for July 14th, 2025.
So move.
We have a motion
Support.
and we have support. Thank you so much. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is carried. Thank you. Next, we have the Michigan City Department of Redevelopment Statement of Income and Expenses. Could you go through this financial report? The date is 5/31/2025.
Absolutely. Thank you. Cash in our operating account, we have $288,992.31. In our Southside TIF account, we have $9,857,341.47. In our Southside TIF debt reserve account, we have $336,308.50. In our Southside TIF capital account, we have $16,199.79. In our North End TIF account, we have $4,478,488.82. In our East Side TIF, we have $912,634.55. In our Northeast TIF account, we have $1,399,869.14. In our Transit Development District, we have $241,157.76. In our loans receivable, we have a county business loan fund, and in that account, we have $94,829.59 for total assets of $17,625,821.93.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments on the financial report? I'd entertain a motion to approve and a second.
I'd like to make the motion to accept the financial report for May 31st of 2025 as presented tonight.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Thank you so much. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. I don't hear any nays. The motion is carried. Thank you. Next, we have public comment. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak at this time?
Hello, esteemed board and gentle president lady. Scott Mellon, 200 Kenwood Place. Several things. Several of you up here are party to, I believe, non-disclosure agreements about a potential data center coming to Michigan City area. And I know you can't speak on that. I completely understand that. But I think the general consensus as town is that any such data center type development would have very minimal impact for the city and is not what we're looking for. Even a proposed $800 million project, which sounds really fancy, is going to lead to minimal employment of locals. For the scuttlebutt is approximately 30 full-time jobs. Some people would point out that, well, the contractors who build it, well, the contractors would be outside contractors, not local contractors, most likely. So that money wouldn't flow to us other than in their spending ability while they're working. And the taxes they might pay would be greatly reduced because the game this is being played now is to see what can be extracted from any municipality to locate these rather undesirable facilities. As you all know, I'm very pro-development. I just don't think this is a positive type of development for us. We have very limited developable land for the size of these projects, and I think the general consensus in town is that any such thing would not really be desired. We're discussing several things today. One is revised riverfront liquor license program application and boundaries. I think in general, this also applies to anything that requires a map or graphics. That as part of full disclosure, I think if there were graphics available of maps and boundary areas so people could understand what areas are being talked about for whatever project that would be. I have found those not easily available unless maybe stopping in the redevelopment office. And, you know, we have good people working there, but that's not really good public access. Yeah, the license program boundaries, I think people want to know that. Tonight, we're talking about a facade grant for the cellar door. And I think I'm going to speak as we, the people, as represented by me, myself, and I, fully support helping them in that facade grant. Is this the oldest bar in Michigan City? One of the oldest.
Pretty old.
And it's great how they're restoring that. So again, I think that's a positive thing. Yeah, the project allocation area is another thing we're speaking about in today's meeting. And again, that's the thing. What are the boundaries? What does this look like? And just if we could have better notice of those things for the public, I think that would be helpful. Those are my notes. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Do you want to talk about this a little bit before?
Sure.
Yeah. So, Mr. Mellon, you bring up the, I think you're tracking us because we said the same thing.
Yeah.
The public needs to see all these things. They need to understand where the boundaries are. And so this will be posted on our website and, Skylar, I don't know if you want to.
Well, what we'll do is we should definitely, I wish I'd brought them tonight and had them digitally like available. Sorry, it just slipped my mind.
You can get them on the website.
Yeah, I can get them on the website, try to get them up as quickly as I can. Yeah, we can do that. Just for knowledge, what we're trying to do is expand it to the distance that state allows us to do. And even, so these two maps are a comparison of the old boundary versus new boundary. But yeah, we can get those up. That's a good point. Yeah.
Perhaps.
Yeah, I wish I had them with me right now. I'd totally give them to them and so put them up.
Perhaps at our next meeting, we can have some copies available for people to pick up. Okay, thank you. Any other members of the public who wish to speak at this time? Anyone on Zoom that would like to speak? Please raise your hand or. Okay, hearing none, let's move on. We have an amendment to our agenda. You want to go ahead with that, Sherry?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to addend to our agenda, addendum number 1, resolution 6-25 MCRC, declaratory resolution to establish project allocation area known as the solar project.
Support.
So we have a motion and a second to amend our agenda and add a resolution that is in regard to the solar project. We want to keep that moving along. So we are going to, hopefully with your approval, insert that before we begin the rest of the meeting. I would entertain, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of amending the agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Okay, thank you. All right, we'll go ahead and get started on this resolution. Resolution 6-25 MCRC declaratory resolution to establish project allocation area for the solar project. Okay.
We have Mr. Tom Everett with us tonight from Barnes and Thornburg. We really appreciate you being here. Tom, can you take it away and tell us tell us a little bit about what we're doing. Maybe give us a little bit of background.
Yep, happy to. Can you all hear me?
Yes, you sound great.
All right, good evening, members of the commission. My name is Tom Everett. I am an attorney with Barnes and Thornburg in South Bend, and I am filling in for my colleague Randy Rampola this evening to present this resolution. So this resolution establishes a new allocation area within the city's consolidated economic development area, and this will be for the SOLA project. And the new allocation area will be known as the SOLA project allocation area. It is just a site-specific allocation area, so it consists of about 2.8 acres of property just on the SOLA project site itself. So this resolution is the first step of the commission to create a new allocation area for the project, and it will allow the commission to collect TIF from the project site after the project is built, and will also allow the commission to then pledge that TIF to economic development revenue bonds that are anticipated to be issued to finance a portion of the SOLA project itself. So this is very similar to what we did for the station block project, where the commission also created a separate project-specific allocation area for that project as well. The base assessment date for the new allocation area would be January 1 of this year, and the allocation area would expire after 25 years after the date of issuance of the first series of bonds that are payable from the TIF revenues generated from this specific allocation area. If approved today, the amending declaratory resolution, which is before you, would also then have to be approved by both the Plan Commission and then the Common Council. And then it would come back to the Redevelopment Commission for a full public hearing, after which the Redevelopment Commission would consider taking final action to approve and establish this new allocation area. So this is really just the first step today to approve the creation of the new allocation area. And then after going through the process I just mentioned, it would come back to the Redevelopment Commission for a public hearing and then consideration of final approval. That's a high-level overview of the resolution. I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone might have.
Thank you. That's helpful. Anyone have any questions or comments?
Tom, can you point out, though, the fact you talk about we're creating the new TIF district for the purposes being committed towards paying off the bond? That's not a city bond, but rather a developer-backed bond, and the implication of that financial impact as it relates to either the commission or the city.
Yes, so it's anticipated that the Redevelopment Commission would pledge future TIF that's generated by this project to the bonds, but that is the only thing that the commission or the city would be pledging towards these bonds. They would not be a general obligation of the city or the commission. They would not be backed by a tax levy. They would not be impact the city's credit rating at all. These are just these bonds that are anticipated would just be payable from TIF. And so the only obligation the Redevelopment Commission would have is after it pledges the TIF would be to transfer the TIF that is pledged to the trustee to pay the bonds, and no other funds or levies of the town would be pledged towards repayment of those bonds.
Any comments or questions?
I would just like to share that the resolution on this matter will be on the council agenda tomorrow on first reading.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions or comments? All right, then I would entertain a motion to approve resolution to establish SOLA project allocation resolution 6-25.
I'd like to make a motion to accept.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the resolution in regards to the SOLA project allocation. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any nays? All right, thank you. This is the first step and it goes to the council and there's lots of other steps before it comes back to us. So
Yeah, absolutely. It'll go to council, and then there's also an Economic Development Commission meeting as well so it's got a few more steps.
few more hurdles. Okay, great. Thank you. Thanks so much. Really appreciate your help.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on. We have facade grant requests. First up, we have Pine Six LLC, 603 Pine Street.
We do have the owner here with us tonight to give us a little background and just tell us a little bit about the project, and then I have a couple of questions as well. Thank you for bringing photos.
Hello, everybody.
Hi
Nice
there.
to see everybody. A little bit about the project.
If you could introduce yourself, please, and
Yes,
for the record.
Nazar Krivko, Chesterton, live in Chesterton, Indiana, 1487 Hogan Avenue. Regarding this project, so we bought this building initially thinking it's going to be very easy touch-up building, and we can bring it back to life with a light cost. But when we start getting more and more detail to the building, we ended up pretty much tear down everything from the porch that you see on a picture. This porch was, we pulled emergency demolition permit because this porch was in a matter of collapse any day on somebody, something like this. So we don't want to risk to have this risk. So there was a demolition of the porch, and then pretty much we got rehab whole building. And because our initial plan was just to a little bit fix the building, not completely redo everything, we decide, because of the budget increase, we decide to go with a 4-unit building, which at this point definitely help us to accept the budget that we're spending money on this building as of right now. So as of right now, this building have completely new electric power, new HVAC system, new plumbing. It's going to be new windows. It's pretty much going to be all new except the brick shell that is still standing over there. The building by itself have very strong and healthy bones, but all electric, plumbing, all mechanical stuff was in a really bad shape and dangerous. So this is why we go this route that wasn't expecting to go. So I'm standing in front of you and asking for the facade grant to help with this project. Like I say, we wasn't expecting to pretty much spend double our budget on this project. Plus, this building is located in historical district, and this front porch, we're gonna try to rebuild as much as possible to original how it was. And if you're gonna look at the picture, you can see, I should put the number of the pictures. There is a triangle on the side of the building that was part of the porch. If you look at the front porch, the top triangle. So we keep this part and we want to install it pretty much back to keep identity of the building. But everything else was literally, we cannot salvage it. It was already time to replace.
You forgot to mention it's 152 years old.
Correct. I even have hard time to insure this building with insurance. They don't want to do it anymore in such old buildings.
Quick question, have you already been before the Historic Review Board?
Correct.
Your COA? Okay.
Yes. We already get approval for emergency demolition. We get approval to rebuild the porch, and we have all the necessary permits from the city of Michigan City. Yes.
How many windows are in it?
Oh, a lot of windows. My price for the windows varies from 60-something thousand and to, I believe, 40,000. So this building has a lot of windows, like literally a lot. And because it's a historical district, we need to go with the higher end windows, which again brings the price up significantly.
Mr. Grifko, I was confused. I don't want to delay you because I know you're trying to get this done, but I I typically write a letter for you guys and say, hey, this is what I think. I know you gave me all the information. I was just confused about, you gave us three quotes, I do believe, and I was just confused which one you were going to go with so that I knew which one. I didn't know what your ask of us was. I think all three quotes.
On the Windows?
Yes, they all get you.
We're gonna go with, I have a presentation with the historical district department board. I believe it was beginning of this year. And we're gonna go with the same Windows that we installed 4411. It was approved by board with the conditions. They want to see the color, stuff like that, but everything. And the front windows, they're gonna be fiberglass. Most likely it's gonna be from Pella. So it's gonna be combined. So sides and back is gonna be European windows and front is gonna be Pella because this is the way historic department was.
So is that the JB West quote that was in there for 61,000?
Yes, but we're gonna take only front windows from them.
Okay.
The sides window we're gonna do our, but the front windows we're gonna take from them. Yes.
Okay, and then I guess my other questions are, what was the total cost of the exterior renovation? I'm sorry, I'm just trying to make sure that we're doing what is right.
I don't have exterior. I have total project right now. Right now, if nothing gonna change, it's gonna be around 450,000 total in with the purchase. Outside, I would say it's gonna be at least around 130, 150,000.
Okay.
I need to add itemized. I give you itemized budget. What was estimated for 2 units initial.
Yeah, I saw
and
that.
then I go to 4 units actual, and you can see how dramatic change in the budget.
Okay.
And then there is everything is itemized, and it's close to around 140,000 for outside.
Okay, I just didn't know from what you had submitted. You gave me a lot of information. No, you're good. I just didn't know. I mean, each one of those budgets gets you the full $30,000 facade. I just didn't know exactly. We don't dictate who you choose. I just want to make sure that you're getting the facade that you, the amount that you, that everyone else gets, if you will, based upon your budget.
Yeah,
So.
thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments? So it's a $30,000?
He's going to qualify for the full 30 based upon the budget. Either three of those quotes gets him the pool.
Yeah.
I mean, you're spending well over $50,000. So, and we pay 60% up to 30%, up to 30,000.
Okay.
It's going to help you a little bit with the 100 and something
At that
thousand.
point, everything helped.
That was just glass. That was you. I mean, we still didn't have the porch cost and all those other things. Yeah, no. Yeah. I mean, just glass alone is
Correct.
60 something thousand, 50 to 60 something $1,000.
Yes.
So
Mr. Mellon, I see you have a question. Yes.
Thank you, Board. Scott Mellon, 200 Kenwood Place. I was actually at the Historic Review Board meeting some months ago when he was there, and he presented a high quality West German window that they denied his use of because they didn't like the material. I would simply submit that this poor man has jumped through a lot of hoops.
absolutely.
And he's got more to go through.
Yeah.
But if we as a city are asking a higher standard than a typical, and we have a grant available to him, and he's clearly spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to bring back a 152-year-old building, that we should, of course, assist him in that, since we're placing fairly onerous restrictions on him.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great comment. Anyone on the commission have questions or comments? All right, I would entertain a motion to approve $30,000 to Pine 6 LLC for the building at 603 Pine Street, the facade improvement.
I will make the motion to approve the facade grant for the Pine 6 LLC facade grant for the improvements for the facade for a building that will produce 4 units for the city.
Thank you.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any nays? Great. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the work you're doing. All right, next we have the cellar door, 1901 Franklin Street.
We do have Kyle with us tonight. Hutch, good afternoon. Thank you for being here today.
Or Kyle Hutchison, 1901 Franklin Street,
Thank
cellar
you.
door.
Cellar
Sure.
door.
Tell us what's going on.
Having me? Yeah, so thanks for having me. Great to see you all. Basically what is going on? We are very close to opening. We are literally going through menu proofs, doing interviews, hiring. So what we incurred over the last 30 to 60 days, I kind of gave you like a detailed synopsis of everything with like itemized receipts from the work that's been done. So essentially, we thought we were finished with the building. Everything was ready to roll and open up. And we had done a lot of work on plumbing before this point. So I just sort of like included everything in this file of like what we have done on this plumbing work, right, to bring the building like back up to standard. And then there was a lot of work that was done. We were like, okay, cool, we're almost ready. Let's start cleaning everything. That we have our dish pit done and all this. Rushing through this like huge amount of water, doing this stuff all at once, like revealed a problem that we didn't know about. So our sewer main in our crawl space actually was not functioning basically at all, which we weren't in the understanding of that during construction and all that. We had like, a half dozen to a dozen people probably in this building for, 9 months or so. And during that time, we never really like noticed anything out of the ordinary with our, drainage or sewer or anything like that. We've been in the crawl space, a decent amount of times over the past year trying to figure out what is going on, where everything's at. Okay, sorry. Long story short, essentially, we had to, dig up the sidewalk in the street, totally replace our sewer main, and then it was found that our water supply main as well was like about to fail any day. And so this building's, drain was literally just going into the sand nowhere. And so we discovered that like this isn't actually working, it's not backing up, it's not going into the street, it's just going nowhere. So yeah, we totally replaced that and essentially just have been coming out of pocket for the last 60 days or so with things that, the bank funding is been spoken for, everything's done, and it just keeps being like, one more thing here and there. Unfortunately, it wasn't like a small ticky-tack thing that presented itself. It was, something pretty major. So yeah, we are here today in front of the board. You guys have been very generous, and we're super grateful to be working with you and the community on this project. Thanks for the community support too. Your vocal support means a lot to us. It definitely takes a village. It takes a city to undertake some kind of large project like this. So we really appreciate all the support that we've gotten thus far. And I would just say that like any help that we could get at this point, we are at the most pivotal moment right now where we are so close to opening, but we're not quite there yet. And it's just, there's no private equity, there's no, multi-million-dollar millionaire like outside investors, but it's just me, my business partner, and we're just trying to make it happen by any means necessary.
And your wives. Don't forget.
Wives, yeah, no.
Don't forget
definitely.
them.
Yeah.
Do not forget them.
That's an important part. Let's be
Trying to
real.
keep you safe.
Yeah. Yeah, you understand.
Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt.
No.
So aboard as we stand here today, you may recall that we gave the cellar door a facade grant. We maxed out that facade grant. I'm sure that had they known that this was not good, they probably would have took some of that facade grant and asked us if they could invest it under the ground where it really probably counted more to some extent, if you will. So I think today before us, I do believe you guys worked with Woodruff and Sons to replace the laterals. The water department did their own lateral, but the sanitary piece of it, y'all worked with Woodruff and Son to replace from the manhole to the building, and then it was plumbed in inside.
Yep.
And the cost of that, I believe, was about $9,000, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, just the under the sidewalk portion of it.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that was about 9 grand that they incurred that they did not see. And I would argue that in the future, we maybe should consider this, especially for some older buildings. And I would actually like to think that we would add that to our facade application because the fact of the matter is we can fix the building all day long and make it look pretty, but if it doesn't have functional laterals, that's a problem. So, and it's a huge problem for small business owners when they get hit with a $10,000 bill.
I agree with you too, Skylar. I'd like to make that comment. And it helps keep a building such as this on the tax roll.
How old is it?
Yeah, it was open for business in 1891.
So, yeah.
So yeah, about what is that, 120?
Yeah. Old.
Yeah, I'm not even
Yeah.
I'm not that on the spot.
That's a great comment, Sherry. We're working to get you active and keep that business on the rolls.
He did send me an itemized list, and I went through all the list, and I'm thinking, well, how do we do this in the future? And I'm thinking like the thing that we could cover would be the Woodruff and Sons. It is very clear that that was for the excavation of the building. It wasn't for a 3-bay sink or anything like that. It literally was exterior excavation and a pipe to run from exterior building to the bulkhead, if I'm not mistaken, in the road.
And that's 9,000.
It was 9,000 on the dot, if I'm not mistaken. You can look. I got it. I brought it up.
Yeah.
It was 9,000 on the dot. Woodruff and Son replaced existing sewer clean out in asphalt pavement. Basically, that's the lateral from new line clean out. Looks like they even went and brought it up into the crawl space.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then restoration of the asphalt and the sidewalk. So that was probably a good chunk of that money as well.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, digging down was where you incur a lot of costs. So then once they were down there, that's when and luckily for us that they were very like forthcoming with all this information. I was staying there watching them do it, and they're like, well, if you want, this also needs to be replaced, like the water supply. So we're able to like do that essentially in tandem. So that was one positive thing. We didn't incur we didn't have to do it a year from now, right? And do the exact same thing again. So small blessings.
All that infrastructure is very, very old there.
Yeah.
So Clarence?
Quick question, Scholar. So this is unusual, an exception, but do we add something, I guess, for the future for a facade program, whether utilities, environmental issues?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not out of the ordinary. We've actually done this before. We did this with Burnham. We did a project with them, and come to find out they didn't have a sewer line, so we had to come back. It was much more expensive than this, but we provided them a building, and we didn't have a sewer connection because the sewer line was so long. Even though it had been scoped, we never in a million years thought it wasn't connected, but it wasn't. So it's not out of the ordinary to come back, and I mean we're trying to put something back on the tax rolls and make it functional, and without fixing it, getting it this would render the building unfunctional essentially.
Yeah, which was exactly the best thing to find out in the 11th hour, right? It's like
Right. Any other questions or comments? I would entertain a motion to approve this request.
I'll make the motion to approve the request of a facade grant for 9,000 for the cellar door at 1901 Franklin Street.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second to approve a $9,000 facade grant to the cellar door at 1901 Franklin Street.
Alan, you look like you have a look on your face. Is this
the problem with the motion, not the idea. The problem with the motion is the fact that you can go two ways with it. Is this a separate facade improvement project grant, or is this an addendum to the original one?
I think it's an addendum to add an additional cost incurred to this unforeseen cost.
Right. I think I think it's better to do it as an addendum as opposed to a new grant, only because of the fact that a new grant would be inconsistent with the laws or our rules for the program the way they currently are. An addendum, because of an unforeseen circumstances as it relates to functionality of the building and the overall environmental aspect of it. And going back to what the original purpose was for the facade grant, and the original purpose was for granting the original facade grant, I think it just sounds better as an addendum.
Okay. Sherry, can you edit your
I would like
motion?
to amend to state that it's for the infrastructure
It's
As an addendum to the original. Yes, for an additional $9,000.
Good. That makes our lawyer happy. And we have a second? Okay, you'll second the addendum. All right. So all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is carried. Thank you so much. Thanks for all the hard work you and your families are doing. Really appreciate it. All right, next on the agenda, Michigan City Area Schools is here
Excellent.
to talk to us about project.
Good evening. Always a
evening.
pleasure to come back in front of you guys to give you an update of what the cool things are going on in the district as well as what the future plans are. So wanted to take the opportunity to give you a quick little overview. First of all, my name Kevin McGuire, Michigan City Area Schools, the Director of Technology. Quick little update overview of where we now have completed our last 5-year grant with the Redevelopment Commission that if you recall, we added what we're calling innovation centers at each of the buildings. So real quick at the budget, roughly $600,000 over a 5-year span, equaling just around $3 million over that course, which again went towards equipment, and really the majority of it was staff development, and then supplies and training for staff and for the technicians. The accomplishments over that 5-year span, I think, are pretty cool. If you walk any of our buildings now, we have the obvious things that you can see when you walk into buildings, 3D printers and soldering irons and Tinker Toys, if you will, electronics, Chibitronics, if you're familiar with those, or electronics that the kids can all play with. Just a slew of items that the students have. The idea behind the project was to be able to create these makerspaces and these locations for the classrooms where you had one location where we stored everything and then the teachers all borrowed and took from those locations. We started at the high school, worked our way down to the middle schools, and then the elementary schools are now starting to receive their equipment that we ordered at the end of the school year with some new furniture as we've kind of laid out. So designated makerspaces in the buildings, equipment, furniture, all that has happened. The staff development, I was doing some hours as I was putting together this presentation, and roughly 400 teachers received roughly 4 hours a month over the 8-month period of the school year over the 5-year span. So that came out to be about 64,000 hours that we were able to bring back to the teachers for staff development, as well as then my staff got training and some other staff members within the district on the makerspace idea and concept. So there's about 200 hours of staff development with that as well. We also, as part of the project, increased our curricular access to our students. So Project Lead the Way is a curricular unit that we use within the district. We do have some K-5, K-6 classrooms, but really it's the 7 through 12 classrooms that got the most out of that. So we added materials for them. We updated the curriculum. We also offered new tracks for the information system for graduation pathways. In line with what the state is now expecting and offering, we've kind of set the tracks for them in that regard. So we now have a capstone class at the high school that was part of all this, that the students now have, of course, access to the equipment and the content, and we're trying to push those students to get in those pathways sooner as opposed to waiting until their junior or senior years. We also expanded and updated some of the equipment with our private LTE. We've done lots of projects in that regard with the city. Been working with Andy Metanik, of course, from the city, and now Wallace, and Shannon Easton and I have been in conversations about some projects there. So trying to work on how the city can become a member of that network and utilize the network to offset some of the costs from the city perspective as well. So looking forward to continue those conversations. And then the other small piece that was a kind of an outlier of the project, because we wanted the students to get access to some of the sensors, was the Barker proof of concept. And this kind of, if you recall, we had some sensors in the Barker, some occupancy sensors, trash can sensors, so we know how full the trash cans are. We had sensors in the classroom for air quality. We have temperature sensors. We have door access sensors, which is actually the big one that I really want to talk about a little bit more, as well as a plethora of other things that are in the building that we are kind of packaging now as a emergency response kind of system for the district, for the community, and a solution that we can offer for all of our buildings moving forward. So really excited about that. The future projects, of course, the makerspaces aren't going away. The locations aren't going away. We're going to continue those projects. We're going to try to add some more staff members, some more staff development to manage the makerspaces themselves. Obviously, they're being used, so we got to continue with the supplies, and those are costs that we're going to incur moving forward. And we want to increase the computer science curricular all around that as well. And again, continue to make our graduation pathways match with what the state is now offering. The community makerspace, if you're not familiar with the Opportunity Hub and what's going on at Elston, that is top priority at Elston for us to try to get that off the ground. So not only do we want to have a space available for our kids that they can go to after hours in a location where they can get similar equipment that they would in the school buildings, they would have it at Elston. We want to make that a community space where we can have community members come into that location. As Elston develops and that project kind of gets off the ground, it's a location where parents can come in and work on their own projects or things as well as with their students. So very excited about that project. We are working with YMCA and the Boys and Girls Club in that regard to have it available for them and their content that they can use during the summer or during the school year as well. The expansion of our private network, still working on that. Currently, we have all of the Marsh School area is covered. So Marsh students will have the capability, a couple of them have the capabilities with SIM cards in their devices and go home and have internet access at home with that private LTE network. Again, just trying to work on how we can expand that out and find some more funding to make that happen. And then, of course, we'll ongoing conversation, as I mentioned, with Andy Metanik and Shannon at the Parks Department on how we can utilize that network to offer solutions and services to the community. One of the projects that Shannon and I are working on, we have a camera currently that we located at the Water Tower Park that is available to her. We aren't storing that video at this point. It's just a camera that is available. So hopefully moving forward, that is something that is connected to our network, and we can then send that video back to Andy where he could store it, and then they would have access to see some of that video moving forward. So those are projects that we're looking at doing all throughout the community as we can start putting cameras, potentially Wi-Fi access throughout the community at our parks. So families and students would have access, as well as be what we're coining is not so much a public safety situation. It's a personal safety that I feel comfortable and know enough that I can walk out into the park and be safe. So looking forward to continuing those. Then as we moved into this year, if you haven't heard, Dr. McCollum has kind of coined the level up term for us this year. That's been our theme moving forward. So I'm going to stick with that, as I've always tried to match what the superintendent has done over the years. We'd like to level up. We've had lots of conversations around, next steps, what we're going to do. We've been talking about this. We brought to you, I want to say in the winter in January, some ideas, but we are kind of focused around enhancing our physical and cybersecurity. And if you haven't heard, the superintendents around in the county have all agreed that they're going to do some metal detectors. And that's kind of what started the conversation. Like, how do we pay for those? How do we manage those? How do we secure those? All those pieces that go along with that. So that's what started the conversation. And as Drew walks away, you have your, we'll skip the paper. And now I'm going to switch my reading glasses too. So the goals as we kind of set forth with the next round was strengthening our physical security, fortifying our cybersecurity. We want to get students more involved. We've been working since our last project on how we get an internship program going with our students. We want to get the students involved, and we want to kind of give them a pathway, as I mentioned, with an internship program. We want to ensure that our systems are up and running all the time. Obviously, anytime you have a cybersecurity issue, it's downtime for the school district, and we certainly want to promote confidence to our community that we are doing everything we can to secure both our students, our physical security in the building, as well as the data and things that they give us on the cybersecurity front. So a little bit about cybersecurity, which of course is my forte and what I've been kind of battling over the years. We all live it on a daily basis. You all get the emails or the letters occasionally that your insurance program or whatever it might be was hacked and your data has been leaked and whatever. So we've been dealing on a daily basis. So there's an escalation in the sophistication, frequency, and impact of the cyber threats. What you may not be aware of is that almost 100% of the ransomware attacks from 23 to 24 were all education ransom attacks. So obviously our budgets is much lower. The staff that we have is much thinner than on the corporate world. So they found a weakness in the system and ransomware attacks have escalated tremendously in in ransomware, and with the average recovery time of 2024 being 287 days, almost a full year to completely recover from a ransomware attack. Unfortunately, it's not necessarily when or if, it's when that everybody has to deal with this. So the more that we can do on the front end to try to prolong that, obviously the better off we can do. Phishing, you're all familiar with those. The data breaches, and then of course the big one is the rise of AI generated attacks now that we are all dealing with. So those are threats that we have to contend with. On the physical security side, that's very easy. Everybody can see that. We can see the broken items, we can see the windows, we can see the students in the buildings. How are we managing that? Some things that we're putting forward to try to make it safer for our students within the building. Certainly our top priority is to try to secure each of the entries. If you go into our buildings right now, and this is something the school district is working on, how do we make sure that the entry point and the main door is secured, that once you get in that main door, you don't have access to the entire facility, that you only have access to the office area? So we are looking at that. We're in the middle of a building assessment plan and are very eager to share a lot of that information with the community moving forward, but that's on us, what we're working on. We currently have a system in each of the buildings where we do background checks. As they walk in, you scan your ID and we do a background check on everybody. We have a need, and we are trying to update the communication. One of the systems that we are working with right now is a cellular bus radio solution. So when our buses in the past would go outside of the Michigan City area, they get outside of our radio reach, the bus drivers would have to rely on a cell phone to call back if they needed to get back to the office. We currently have a system now where those radios can reach back via their cellular system, so they don't have to pull out their personal cell phone. They can still use the radio on the bus, but it then communicates through the cellular connectivity. So we are working on updating that. I did mention the weapons detection is something that is in the forefront of all the superintendents in the county that we're looking at. We have a need to update our video surveillance. That's something when we initially implemented our video surveillance, it wasn't for a necessarily every area of the building coverage. It was a general, let's cover the doors, let's cover the hallways. But as you know, the buildings are much larger than that. So we have a need to increase our capability with the video surveillance. And then that includes from the outside in. So all of our cameras are inside out. We have a need to kind of look at the building from the outside. And then the other things that go along with this are the de-escalation, just to try to find the avenues that we can take to make sure that there's not a physical security threat. As well as I mentioned the Barker POC and some things we're doing at Barker to kind of mitigate some of our risks and our threats within the building and what we can use technology for to kind of offset some of those. So the budget that we laid out for the next 3 years, which is about a $5 million budget overall, and this includes all of the pieces. So we have already written, and this is kind of some of the delay of coming to you. We've written some grants and sought some grants, both from the Justice Department, which is a COPS grant, and then the Indiana School Safety Grant that we have reached out. We intend and we hope that we hear some news from each of those grants here within the next couple of weeks. Before the beginning of the school year. And then, of course, there's district funds that we are, of course, incurring that just to continue. That's our general operations that we have to obviously use to move forward. So it's about a $5 million grant, or not grant, but a $5 million project that we put together over the next 3 years. Some proposed tools, as we discussed, Open Gate is a solution that we've kind of landed on doing some research. The Open Gate solution is what we proposed to the COPS grant. It's roughly about $250,000. We chose that solution because it literally looks like what you see in the picture. We don't have to bolt it to the ground. We don't have to run power cables all over the place. The system itself is very portable, so we can take it to large venues. We can use it for community events. It runs off of two 20-volt batteries that when it's not plugged into the wall, it can move around. So this is something that certainly we are interested in having a conversation that we potentially could use for other events around the community. But we will purchase a couple of these for all of the secondary buildings. So the high school, I believe, is slated to get two sets of these. And then each Barker and Krieger will end up with 2 sets. So again, it's a system that we can move around. We could use at Amesfield. We can use at the high school. We can bring Barker and Kriegers to the high school if needed. The system is very portable and very easy to use. It runs off a cell phone as far as a management component goes. I mentioned the cameras and increasing our video surveillance. That's essentially just working with a current solution that we currently have. And then the Barker POC, I just wanted to give you a quick little map. The great thing with the POC, we're going to do this for all the buildings. We're going to lay out all of our sensors and everything on one map. So you can click on the map and click on each of the individual sensors and have idea of what's going on and what's happening within that building, which includes occupancy, temperatures, and the door access, which is the big one. So this system gives the office an alarm anytime a door is propped open for more than 5 seconds. So I won't bore you with some of the cybersecurity tools, but I wanted to throw it into the discussion. These are all tools that we use, we propose to be using moving forward. Of course, there's a cost to each one of these. There is a license to each one of these, but these are some things that we'll have to make some decisions on based on the funding that's available. But backup appliances, firewalls, endpoint detection, just make sure that the laptops and the computers are protected from outside in. Network monitoring. This is all certainly not the full slate of tools that we could have at our disposal, but the ones that we have identified that are a big need for the district to moving forward to make sure that we can protect the network and the school's data. And then the purchase services, I kind of laid out a little bit more, but just to talk to it a little bit, we will continue the program with the teachers. This will be, the staff development continues to be both data rich, but also will include some of those security discussions we had as far as the de-escalation, the usage of the hardware technology, so on and so forth, as well as phishing, the cybersecurity threats and everything, just make sure that they're all aware of that and they get their training, as well as the other curricular training that we offer during that same time. Tech staff PD, same thing, that we'll have training involved for the tech staff to make sure that they know how to use the tools. We will need individuals, and this is kind of written between all of the grants, individuals and staff members that can take care of the hardware supervision. And then the big program that I'm very excited about is a student internship that we certainly want to move forward with. This is something that we started with the innovation centers, and we kind of want to move forward and how that sets up. We want our students, when they're ready to walk out the door, that have knowledge on cybersecurity and can actually walk into an environment where they can be first line of defense, or they could be helping us. You know, we don't have enough eyeballs as it is, so potentially helping us to monitor logs and see what's going on the network. So the request that I laid out, and really to give you full circle on the view of how this all came together, we put together all these pieces and parts. We wrote the other grants, and then this is what isn't covered, that we don't have dollars to account for. So that's really where the dollars came from. It wasn't a knowledge of how much money was going to be available, what would be willing to be offered, but that's where the dollars came from. So breaking it down just from the redevelopment standpoint, what's not currently covered, the staff development is top priority. This is something that we've done with since 2013, and that we'll continue to move forward with. But then the other components are all things that we need to add to our tool chest, if you will, just to make sure that we can protect the network and the student data. And then the outcomes of this from the community standpoint, obviously the increased safety, the improved learning environment, the protected data privacy, the enhanced operational resiliency, the workforce, the development of the future workforce, and obviously just the commitment to our community, just to make sure that we're doing the best we can, that we have secured data and the students are safe in the buildings. So with that, certainly open it up for any questions, any discussions, and any thoughts that you might have.
Any comments or questions?
I have two. Just curious, under the physical security threat management, it indicated the visitors' background checks. Would that be more so if a parent's coming in, and is that parent associated to a student at the school? Could you?
So actually, anytime a visitor comes into the building, if they're going to leave the office area, if they're going to enter the actual physical building, we scan their ID and we do a very quick background check just to make sure that it's okay for them to enter the facility.
What type of background check are you?
It's just a very low level background, just checks for sexual predators, and
If they're
those types of
registered
things. Yeah,
things like that.
felonies and yes.
So are you saying then the end of I work for the LaPorte County Child Support Division
Yep.
and under the prosecutor's office, I'm just curious, with that being said, so someone that have pending felonies,
DUIs show
or
up.
DUIs or anything of that nature, then they're not allowed to enter into beyond the.
It's not necessarily that they're not allowed, it just makes us aware that individuals. So maybe they get different supervision when they're walking to the building.
Or escorted to wherever they need to
Exactly.
go. Okay.
Exactly.
And then my other one, I'm just curious, I know this is it's after the fact. I'm just wondering, at any time when ARPA funds was available, was any funds during that time set aside to go towards this?
Not specifically. So we didn't necessarily get ARPA funds. They're a little bit different. I forget what they were titled for us, but we did do some physical security updates as far as door entries and some of those things, but nothing specific to like the metal detectors or anything of the equipment or the technology standpoint.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have a couple questions
Sure.
too. So on the visitor clearance, are they then issued like a quote unquote, like a visitor badge
Yep,
that
absolutely.
is air tagged them?
That doesn't air tag them, but yes, they do get a paper copy of the
Okay.
visitor badge. And then it does give a copy of their driver's license picture on that as well. So then there's some identification as
Okay.
that is your visitor badge and the staff knows when they're walking around the building.
Okay, and then also, with your access control program, and just because of the world that we live in, is there like, does the school system have like a color code of codes that are called out?
We do.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's very similar to what you,
Hospital?
yeah,
Yep,
very
okay.
similar. Yeah, and I couldn't go through them. I mean, essentially, we have lockdown, we have shelter in place, all those things that they, that they recommend for all districts. And then
Okay.
there is a panic button in the front office.
Okay,
One thing, again, the proof of concept of Parker that we didn't have, and this stemmed from the Uvalde incident, was there was no way for us to know that the custodial door in the back of the building was left open. We all have that issue that somebody propped the door open or whatever. We have it in the public buildings as well. This system allows the principal and somebody in the office, it beeps after a 5-second if the door's been propped open for more than 5 seconds, which is new. So then we will tie that with the cameras that we currently have, that they can then do a quick look, see what's going on, or obviously now they can walk back to wherever the door is open.
does your cameras have pan, zoom, tilt?
Not all of them.
Okay,
So those will be part of the update that we have. Yep. Absolutely.
okay, and then, for your cybersecurity, for your BAS system, like, have you had any issues with the hacking of a BAS system?
I won't say no.
Okay.
We haven't had very large,
Yeah,
issues with.
They haven't gotten that crafty yet.
Correct.
Maybe we shouldn't say that out loud,
Yeah,
right?
correct.
Okay. And then, just overall, not so much about the cybersecurity, but overall, past programs, current program, can you kind of give us some enlightenment on how this has helped with your, student enrollment and maybe even student engagement? And then also, has it helped you with, staff engagement and retention?
Yeah, so recently is the best data that I can give you off the cuff. We are going through our strategic plan process, and we have gotten feedback from the students, as well as from staff, that they do feel safer within the buildings. The culture seems safer. I unfortunately can't say that that's been huge strides. Like
Mhm.
we're not seeing 20-25% gains, but we are seeing some measurable gains in the tune of 5 to 6%. That more students feel safer in the environment that we have. So I think that's not so much a testament of what we're doing as a district, but what's really happening around the city and in the community. I think certainly some things that we put in place, we have done training with all teachers, all certified teachers get training on de-escalation and some of those processes used within a classroom. I think it's just, the culture and the environment that the students are walking into. There's a different positive vibe, I think, throughout the district. So hopefully we'll see that. I think some of it is attributed to what we're doing, but some of it certainly is how the community is changing as well.
Excellent.
Tracy.
I had another one. I remember when you came before us before, and there was you mentioned possibly the students for example, having something on them, or when they go to the restrooms or hall
Yep.
pass thing. So is that implemented?
It is. So we
Okay.
use a product called, well, I think it's just called Hall Pass, where the students don't, in the past, you may recall, you got the cinder block and the key to the restroom when you left the building, and you had to return it back to the teacher. Now the student requests a pass, the teacher does it digitally. The student goes out in the hall. Now, anybody in the building has a list of the students that are are allowed to be in the hall during that time. So if I'm a teacher, I'm walking the hall and I see Skylar going to the restroom, I can look real quick and, Skylar's good. He's been, I see him on a list. If he's not on a list, then he can be apprehended and taken to the office or dealt with during that time. So yes, we did implement that solution. Currently, just at the high school, I do anticipate that secondaries will use it very shortly as well.
Great questions.
Real quick question. I realize that the focus is on secondary. Any plans for the future for elementary, especially with, custodial parent versus non-custodial parent? We have those kind of issues. It's the largest number is non-custodial parents abducting their
Yeah,
child. Yeah.
absolutely. So, well, to the elementary specifically, that's where the biggest need from a physical facilities update is. All the secondaries have secured entries coming in. The elementaries, not all the elementaries have that. So that would be the biggest physical security update. But yes, within the system, within Power School or SIS, we do have the capability to tag who the parent is picking up and so on and so forth. And then, of course, our policies and procedures are we don't just let a student go out the door to the car. They are assisted and made sure that they are getting into a vehicle with the custodial parent.
Thank you. Great questions. Anyone else have questions?
I got a couple of questions, but I'll yield to go ahead.
I got two questions. Lots of numbers. And if the numbers can be used for matching grants at all for technology?
Not the two that we've applied for, but as you know, as grants come up, certainly any of those we apply for, we always do in kind. Any of the conversations, the projects that we have going on with the city, we use for in kind. I don't know of anything specific right now, but this is, as you guys know, with all the other projects, this is a step off point of kind of the focus for the next 3 years. Then of all the grants that we write, we'll be using any dollars that come to as an in kind dollars in a partnership, if you will.
Okay, and this would be part of the ongoing grants the commission gives to the school for a technology grant?
Yeah, well, the original grant ended in May. So that grant is done. So this will be the next round of funding and moving forward, if we're so lucky to get the funds.
We've actually done 2 rounds of grants. We've given approximately about 6.3 million, I think, over an 8-year period starting in 2013, maybe.
Yep, that sounds right. And now the first grant was for the one-to-one initiative.
Absolutely.
All the that project's about $10 million. Where the redevelopment up fronted us the first $1 million, and then it was $3 million, I think, after that. The next round was the $600,000 per year. So that's gets us to where we're at today.
And then is there a reason for the 3 versus 4 years, or is it just kind of the way that you want to implement this?
Great
project?
question. It was a 5-year grant originally. Through a conversation with Baker Tilly, as we understand, the TIF districts are going to make a drastic change in 3 years. So that's why we kept it to 3 years, but it also fits in with the licensing and everything that we're proposing for on the cybersecurity side. So there's a couple.
That's the reason why I asked the question is I know that in year 4, we're probably going to see the difference in the SB1 that's came out now. And we're doing the same analysis for our TIF districts. So that's why I was asking the question.
Yeah, as you know, Baker Tilly is a very close confidant to us as well. And I did have the conversation just knowing that this conversation was going to come up of where we should kind of focus a little bit. And it was advised that we stick with the 3-year, knowing that there's going to be significant changes from your perspective in a couple of years.
The other question is in here it says we got about 3.2 in one piece, and then in the second piece we have 3.3. Is there? It's right here. It says proposal seeks a total of 3.2, and then in the back it's like 3.3. I know it's only like a couple thousands. What's a few $1,000? I mean, but I'm just curious what.
Yeah, so not knowing all the pieces that would fall in redevelopment and what. So that's the difference when the spreadsheet came out and
and you're using numbers from the spreadsheet versus got it. Okay.
I did give you, there's a copy of the grant proposal. Then there's a more detailed grant on how the dollars are laying out. So you have that in the spreadsheet as well. And then of course, copy of the presentation in your packet.
My last question, when, and maybe I should ask you this, so this is what you're submitting to us, obviously. When would you need to know, when do you need to know back, or when are we what's that time frame? I mean, obviously ASAP or
Yeah, nothing moves forward without, the dollars, obviously. Now, the grants that we currently have and we've asked for, as soon as those come through and we get approval on those grants, we'll move on those very quickly. And those will, just recapping, the big ones are the COPS grant. It's huge because that is the metal detectors. That is a lot of staff members. That's SROs. We do have a partnership with the city police department. The SROs are being paid for out of the school safety grant. So we would like to add one or two more of those individuals if the grant comes through. So those are pieces that will move forward regardless of what decisions made here. It's the other components that we tacked on as far as the cybersecurity pieces and some of the other physical facility pieces that I present to you.
So Kevin, for the listening public, it looks to me as if there's two themes. One is the physical safety and security and operation of your buildings from high school all the way down to the elementary schools. And then the second one is cybersecurity and making sure that the data and dollars and all of the information that you hold is kept safe.
That is
And-
correct. And it pretty much goes along with our theme of how we got to this point.
Yeah.
I mean, all the technology and everything that we've done over the years, this just ties into the safety and security of the students, both on the cyber side as well as the physical security side.
Okay.
But yes, you're absolutely correct. There are kind of two tracks.
Okay. Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments? I would entertain the sense of the commission.
I don't want to make sure we got the funds coming in before we say, yeah, 8 tonight. So I'd bring it back to the next meeting if possible.
Okay, that's positive.
So just to be clear, are we looking at the 3.3 the final conclusion request is $3,311,000 over a 3-year period. That's what you would be
Correct.
seeking. Okay, just want to make sure.
Roughly $1.1 million a year.
Yes.
All right, so Clarence has suggested that we study this and bring it back to at our next meeting when we have a more cogent sense of our funding and can see if there's any questions in the meantime.
Yeah, certainly. If there's any other questions, I'm available. Shoot me an email. If anybody wants to talk on the phone, I'm available.
Just a quick question on, when you talk about the COPS being the big one, the COPS total being the big one, and that's from the federal government.
That's correct.
And we know the state of affairs in the federal government is.
That's correct.
Whatever it is, I'm against it. So what happens if that goes away, if that doesn't get funded?
Yeah, ultimately, we're just gonna have to find out the funding to make that happen.
Okay.
But that doesn't impact.
It does not. Yep.
Good question.
Tracy?
Are you requesting a formal motion?
No, I'm just a sense of, what we'd like to do moving forward. Clarence made a good suggestion that we study this and check our funding and make sure that we're in good framework before we move forward. Does everyone agree with that?
Yeah.
Yep.
And I can kick this to Baker. We have the same advisors. They're very much aware. I think just understanding a little bit more about the implications of SB1, and I understand why they're making those 3-year commitment now.
Yeah.
And then also in a couple of years, we have other things like the North End TIF goes away, and we want to just make sure we're solid on that. A large chunk of the TIF goes away. Let's just say that. So.
Yeah, and again, the same conversation. We didn't want to put the redevelopment in a position that,
Right.
make commitments for that you don't know what's going on in.
Oh, well, you definitely do great things with the money, so there's no question on that. So
I definitely think that we are in agreement that this is positive for the community in so many different ways. And you've been a really good partner to the city of Michigan City and sharing your knowledge and collaborating. So that's great. But if you could just give us a couple of weeks.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you so
very
much.
much. Everybody,
All
have a
right.
great evening.
Thanks so much, Kevin. Great presentation.
awesome. Amazing.
Mhm. I want to apologize for my coughing fits, everyone. I've been sick, and so I've got my lozenges up here. I'm doing my best. All right, next on our agenda, we have St. Paul Lutheran Church has a fence request. If
So
Skylar.
I'll introduce this one and give a little bit of background, but we do have Donna and I do believe Bob. Is that correct? Okay, I just want to make sure. I asked them to come here tonight. Donna and Bob were very forthcoming with what they were going to do. We met with them before they put in their new playground, and I, I remember being in that meeting, and I think there were quite a few skeptics in there that anyone was going to use that playground. And I would venture to say that it probably gets used more than the old playground at this point in time. But let me back up to probably 11 years ago. I do believe you guys worked with the Redevelopment Commission at that time, or someone in the church had to talk about if we twice maybe, right?
2 years.
22 years ago and it was still a topic when I first moved here that they were trying to get rid of this fence. But at the time you had a school there and you really couldn't get rid of the fence because people were still playing kickball and baseball and all the things that were up against the fence basically to keep the balls from coming out of the fence. When Donna and Bob came to us, me and Wendy Vache, the Public Works Director, we had a long discussion. And I think that they feel that they would like to replace the fence as well at this point in time and to make it look really beautiful. They've got a beautiful new police station there. So it just kind of, I guess, stars aligned, if you will. And we started having this deeper discussion about what it all looks like and what it feels like. And we have a lot of new businesses down Franklin Street. And I think now is really the time to make this public improvement that I call it, because we don't need a 6-foot tall chain link fence anymore that's beat up. So we have this opportunity. So at the time, I asked if they would take it upon themselves to see what something like this would cost. We gave a coated chain link fence and a decorative metal fence. Mr. Kaiser took it upon himself to make the calls and get all the quotes. He got 3, actually you were called 4 quotes. One person didn't quote.
That's right.
You presented all of them to us today. I have it right here in front of us.
Good.
And you, from what I ascertained from Donna, and I will let you speak to it, you would like to go with Northwest Indiana Fencing because you felt that they were the most responsive. If you want to talk about that, you can.
The 3 quotes that we really received, they were in the middle as far as pricing goes. The one in Michigan City we contacted that happened to be the highest price is about $10,000 more. And then the other quote was like $300 less than what this guy is, this Northwest. I also contacted Sue, I think it was down at your facility, and she indicated that they've had business with them before. And she was very confident in their ability to do the work and do it nicely.
Sure.
This all stems from us selling the school, I might add. We had a playground with the school. And the contractor was going to remove that playground. And we went to our council and the council approved us to obtain another one on our grass area there at the corner of 8th and 9th. Excuse me, 8th and Franklin.
Mm-hmm.
They came in at $101,000, I think it was that playground you're talking about. And the reason that we settled on the black aluminum fence is the I guess aesthetics with the whole city downtown. The city has those fences around in different areas of Michigan City. So we thought that would blend in the best. And since this person was right in the middle of the road and they could do it very reasonable, or we thought reasonably, we've elected to go with them. And we've came to the redevelopment end to ask for funds to help for this. Okay. That's why we're here.
This is open to the public, the PlayStation.
Oh, yeah.
I just asked for public knowledge.
It's being used.
Absolutely. It's used all the time. I see lots of kids playing there and adults. So
In fact, in our church right now, we probably have 10 kids.
Yeah, that would use.
So we put in $100,000 playground and we didn't mean it for just 10 kids. Everybody in the community is welcome to it.
That's so nice.
That the community or downtown area needed a playground. There are a lot of apartments downtown.
Yes, sir.
And I think
Daycares.
daycares too. There's 2 or 3 of those down there.
I've seen them walk their kids over
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Yep.
They're
I just
getting
witnessed
it,
that.
3 or 4 times a week, it looks like.
Yep. So from our standpoint, I mean, I see this as a public improvement. We've been working for this for 22 years, just like our one-way street for 30 years. I mean, I just feel like it's, and I know when I came here, this was on it was on one of the dockets. I remember talking about this fence, and I just feel like now we have like an opportunity to make this happen. You've put in a large investment, and I see this as a public improvement to beautify our streetscaping in downtown.
Thank you,
Thank-
Skylar. So
And
what is the
this will go
total?
on 8th Street and down Franklin too there.
And keep in mind, we also have made some improvements to this area. We redid the sidewalk all the way down. That was one of the that sidewalk has been broken for, I don't know, 22 years. I think you guys told me.
I came to the council twice to get that done and then and they never did it. And then this contractor who bought the school, he got complained about it. And next thing I know, it's got done.
You know, so the total request tonight, this is from Northwest Indiana Fencing. And it's
23,000.
number one is aluminum fencing. $23,900 was the cost of that fence.
Yes, that's the material, labor, and to take away the old fencing and everything.
Nice.
Absolutely. And it sounded like you thought that they did the best quote from the standpoint they actually come out and measured it and did
Well,
a
they all
formal.
measured it.
Yeah.
No difference there.
Thank you.
But I was impressed with them.
Thank you. All right. Are there any questions or comments from any members of the board?
When are they looking to get this done?
Hopefully, by the middle of August, it'll be done.
Wonderful.
The material's on order. It's supposed to be here the end of the month, and then they'll schedule it to be done.
Alan, we would need to pay this directly as an improvement. I would need a W-9 I would have to check and see if they have an account, but I doubt they do with the city. And then I would need a W-9 from them, which I'm putting this in the record just so Debbie reminds me to get a W-9. So
W-9.
it's basically like a business form. Yeah, just so we can have their tax identification number, et cetera, things of that nature.
Goes all the
Yeah.
time from our vendors.
Yeah. So I would entertain a motion. I think the board, we've discussed this and, we think it's a wonderful community, collaboration.
We
It's
lost
great for the kids.
We lost our soup kitchen that we sponsored every year.
Yeah.
For years and years and years. We lost our men's shelter because we got the nest or the Yes. So we're trying to still be good community neighbors for the city.
That's wonderful. Well, nothing's better than investing in our young people, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Right. So I would entertain a motion to approve St. Paul Lutheran Church's fence request for $23,900.
No, it's just when you make your motion, you are making a motion not to, we're giving money to the church, but we're making a motion that we are actually acquiring a fence for installation on the church property for the purposes of removal of an eyesore of long-standing nature and replacing it with more aesthetically pleasing fence at that location in lieu of the various other changes that have occurred downtown as well as at the
And I
church.
think that would make everybody happy.
Yeah.
I do too.
Well said.
Hey, I was gonna say, I mean, I'm sure what he said.
Yeah. I like it.
I'd like to make a motion that we take and provide both the funding and purchasing of the fence for St. Paul's Church playground that's available to the public and also helps improve the area with taking down of a 6-foot fence.
Yeah, I think you got it. All right.
Sounded good.
Oh, in the amount of $23,900.
That's right. We have a second?
Support.
Okay, we have support. Phil, you got to move faster. Or we have a motion and support for this, the fence project for $23,900, which is open to to all of the community to use. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Are there any nays? No nays. It has been approved. And thank you so much. Thanks for your hard work.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you both.
thing about Mr. McGuire's?
Yes, yes.
Using his words, I strongly suggest that you support that. Because it's a lot different than picking out whether you could wear slacks to school or you had to wear the dress when I was in school.
Right.
I can't imagine parents going to school and not thinking their child would be safe. That's scary.
Thank you. Great comment. All right, let's move on to our revised riverfront liquor license program application and boundaries.
Absolutely. I'll take this one. I've been working on this for a while. Alan and I actually finally had the chance to sit down Friday and actually put pen to paper and basically just knock out a revised rules, which you can see. I'm actually have Drew putting up some of the boundaries. Can you go to the old boundary? That's our new one. Yeah. So that's our new boundary. And then he'll bring up the new. Thank you, Drew, for doing that. And I apologize for not having them ready. So this is our old boundary right here. Let's start with this one. This is the old boundary. It was not done in July 2025. Actually, it is the current boundary of 2025, but it was done, I believe it may be 2016, 2014, somewhere around in there. Oh, yeah. Okay. Maybe like 2020, 21, 2019. Anyways, this is how the district looks right now. The law says that we don't. The law basically the code that we're using allows us to take Trail Creek and basically draw a center line on it and go 3,000 feet around it and put a buffer around it on both sides. The law also says that you have to be inside a redevelopment area and inside a designated, basically a district, a riverfront district. The redevelopment area, as you can see, encompasses. So this is how it exists right now. And then if you can go to the other map, thank you very much. This is actually the redevelopment area. This is the north end redevelopment area mixed with the expansion that we did in, when we did the expansion 2022, when we put the north and the south TIF together, which actually allowed south of 11th Street to be included in this district. The boundary that you see around it is in purple, the reddish fuchsia line. That's actually 3,000 feet from the center line of our river, Trail Creek. So it goes 3,000 feet north, 3,000 feet south, 3,000 feet in every direction. That is a buffer that you're seeing. Again, the check boxes are inside a redevelopment area, 3,000 feet in the river, or from the center line of the river. This is an accurate depiction of inside a redevelopment area as it's designated and within 3,000 feet. You can see the extent of what would be included in that. It actually gets pretty far down Michigan Boulevard and actually goes pretty far down Franklin Street past 11th Street. So it opens up some eligibility for restaurants to be located in our district, in our new district, if we were to adopt this. The other thing that we would be adopting with this is we would be establishing a new fund. I'll call it the Downtown Dining Fund because that's how it was worded in our original document. Maybe that might change a little bit, but it would basically establish that anyone who receives a municipal riverfront license will basically pay a yearly, to be paid by July 1st, I believe it was, of $2,500 that would go into a fund that would be established by the council. Our role as the Redevelopment Commission would be to make sure that the $2,500 is paid yearly, and if not, revocation of liquor license. But we would not be approving the use of the funds. We would be simply policing the funds, making sure that they get paid. I think it would be up to the council to set the rules of where that money goes, what's it used for, etc. But it was always contemplated since 2005 that we would have the municipal fund set up. It's just never gotten established. So this would be also setting up that fund as well. So it'd be kind of twofold to the council would be, do you agree with these boundaries? Do you like the boundaries, but also establishing a fund for us to put the $2,500 in yearly, and then what it would be used for. That's kind of it right now. If you have any questions.
It's important to understand though, what you're doing is not approving the boundaries, is not approving the 2,500 fund, annual fund contribution. All you're doing is, here's what we would like, or here's what the commission would like to tell the common council is to modify, because they're the ones that have the authority to create the riverfront district alcohol program, and they're the ones that would have to approve any kind of modifications to it. So
Yes.
what you're indicating that either you agree with these changes, you don't agree with these changes, but ultimately it's going to go before the common council to make their determination.
Yes.
Any comments or questions?
So, if I may,
Tracy?
Madam Chair, thank you. So this will be coming before the council?
I would like for it to come before the council
Okay,
in the very near future.
okay. And then, as you mentioned that the council, and administrator will set what type of fund or to set up that account. So whenever that is established, one of the things that I would just say, I would like to see if some of those funds could be utilized in the door
Absolutely.
ordinance that has been passed to support the signage, the trash, recycle bins and cups preferably. So,
I agree with that. I think it all goes hand in hand. I think you should also make it a non-reverting fund where it can be rolled if they want to go after a grant for something. I can't think of a grant for dining, but maybe there's an advertising grant out there that, you get some extra money for advertising. I think that that's a good use of the money, especially if you can stretch the money in the count. But I agree with the door. I think that would be a great use of funds. Cups, and then the cups are provided to the businesses. And I mean, we're doing this to create the best dining experience in Northwest Indiana. So that's what it was originally established for.
So I guess the fund will be used for mainly the downtown area or the dining district.
I don't know the answer to that. I don't know that it's not TIF. It's not TIF funds. Does that make sense what I'm saying? This would be a proceed. It would be seen as a proceed because it's not collected in taxes. It's not collected as TIF. So actually it's a proceed. So it's actually not bound by the geographic boundary of the TIF necessarily. Now, I guess that you could argue, are you in the district? Or are you out of the district? I don't know. I don't know that I want to be involved in that argument, but that's a great question. But it's not TIF. It is not bound by the geographic boundary of the TIF because it's a proceed.
For me, if the money is collected within the district, I would like to see it spent there because it's not a lot of money.
Yeah,
Talk
that's
about
right.
it. So you spread across the whole city, it dissipates.
It's going to go quick. Yeah.
So, but if you want to do marketing for downtown, getting stuff to happen downtown, you kind of want to have that money you can't use TIF dollars for right now. Put it back in this general area.
I do believe that the goal of establishing this fund was for it to be spent within the district. I would agree with that. It doesn't come right out and say that, but I do think that it was established to create available funding for this district. Now, that also means that there are a lot of businesses in this district that have liquor licenses right now or are established restaurants who do not have our municipal riverfront license, but they would benefit from a promotional fund, a DORA event, et cetera, et cetera.
and so with that being said, then that is something that language can be adapted by the council then? Okay.
I think that would make sense to put those languages in the council, whatever the council would adopt. Yeah.
So basically, our role tonight is to send this to the city council saying, this is an idea from the Redevelopment Commission. We'd like you to pursue an application and creating a fund. We have a model application for them to review. And kind of, it's their decision with our recommendation. correct?
Ultimately, it's their decision to expand, redact the
Okay.
boundary, if you will.
One more comment. One of the things that we talked about a lot when we were trying to get this put together was the whole plan is to get a diverse experiences in the district. I mean, and no offense to Italian restaurants, we got 3 in the north side. So I'd like to see more flavor and more diversity of flavors in the district, whether it's Latin fusion or Asian fusion or Greek or Irish bar. We don't have an Irish bar. But just so I guess I want to make sure that that's the intent, that we have no more than maybe 2 of the same type of restaurants, because you want people to be able to come here and have a broad experiences instead of waiting for my Ukrainian dessert and at some point they're Ukrainian food. So, but we want to make sure there's different types of food in our downtown. So,
Gotcha. All right, I would entertain a motion then.
I'd like to make a motion on the local rules riverboat alcohol beverage licensings, and that the establishment, a recommendation to the city council for the establishment to pursue an affidavit and to create a fund for
I would call it the Downtown Dining Fund, but I'm sure there's a better name for it than that. So
Support.
All right, we have a motion to pass this over to the city council with a recommendation, and we have a motion of support. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any nays? Motion has carried. Thank you. So the city council will get this and the application template as well.
I'll work with Alan to get it submitted. And would you sponsor this? I'm sure it'll come in the form of an ordinance. Is this something?
There may be a couple of other council members that
Excellent.
to support it.
Thank you, Tracy.
Great.
Quick request. Can this be updated just to have the major roads identified?
Yes. So I didn't want to put. I always work with Tony on these maps, and I try not to make them too jumbled up. What I make if I might, I will try to be very brief. What I'd like to do with this is we have the ability through GIS to create a map widget, which is it's called a map widget. It's really actually a really cool map. It's going to go online, and you'll be able to literally, if you have a parcel that's lit up, say in orange, you'll be able to click on it and see if you're in or out of the district. It'll tell you eligible, non-eligible, eligible, non-eligible. I would also like to add that keep in mind, just because you're in the district doesn't mean that you automatically get one of these. So there's still zoning rules that have to be met, building rules, the restaurant rules. We have other rules. So keep in mind that just because you're in the district and you're in a house doesn't mean you're eligible for a liquor license. You're still zoning. There's still zoning rules and all the other rules that come along with opening a business in the appropriate place in Michigan City. So the map will become more interactive, but yes, for the purpose of printing, I'll clean up this map. I just needed to get it out tonight and kind of make it as legible as possible of how big the district is. In general, where does it go?
Okay. Yeah, identifying main roads would be helpful. Great. Next on the agenda is any updates on SOLA and all of that.
Yeah, and I may have Alan jump in on this, but I'll try to take this one. So as of right now, we have moved forward with submitting our Economic Improvement District petition. We've done a lot of work. We've spent the past week and a half doing a lot of things. We have made transfers of land. As you're aware, we approved us to transfer land to make the diversify our land holdings at Sola Project property. We have done that. We have submitted a petition for the Economic Improvement District. It is in the council's, is on the agenda, as Councilwoman Tillman said, tomorrow. It will have its first reading. What else do we have there? We also have, we just did the declaration of a TIF district tonight. So actually that is on council's agenda, as well as a bond ordinance for the EID and a bond ordinance for the TIF, both of which are not city bonds. Those are not backed by any city tax money or anything of that nature. They are developer-backed bonds and EID bonds. Our next step is that we will go between, once we have first reading, we will go, it kicks in a 100-day, 20-day period for the establishment of the Economic Improvement District. We will have to also go to the Economic Development Commission, the EDC, and do another bond resolution, and then that will come back to council as well. So there's a lot of other steps we have to do, but my point in saying all these things are, and giving this kind of synopsis, is that everything is in motion to have the EID established, the Economic Improvement District established, the TIF district established, and have both bonds for each one of those respective districts queued up and ready to go by August 19th. That's our goal. After that, between August 19th and December 19th, SOLA will have the opportunity to, once we get these tools in place, they will then go out to their financial institutions and put all the rest of the funding in place by December 19th. It's very ambitious, but it's all in motion right now.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? All right, let's move on to the 11th Street Station Garage and any updates on the tower. I'm sure everyone's seen it, so it's moving right along.
If you haven't been to the station, you should definitely go in as a citizen. It's a really nice station. So definitely make a point to, I took some friends over there yesterday. It was pretty cool to walk through there. It's actually got great views from the station, or from the parking garage as well. Right now, we're pretty much done with the actual station and parking garage. There are a few things we got to button up. We will be working this week and next week to button those up. Those are just final walkthroughs. Simple things like making sure the keys work on a door, that that they're all keyed the same. It's really simple punch list items like that. And then we will also move into operation and maintenance of the building. That'll be our next discussion, and we will have to work with Nick D, Flaherty and Collins and the city as a kind of a tri-party process that we're working through, which we have agreements in place. They were put in place and starting in 2016 and then revised with the actual construction of the building. So that's kind of where we're at right now. So those are our final steps. And then from the standpoint of the tower comes along every day. It grows. And I still think it's all on track to be done in a timely manner.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? All right, let's move on. Legal counsel, any additions?
Nothing else besides, or in addition to what I've worked on before, other than to say that there was an executive session prior to this meeting. No items were discussed that were not permitted by the open door law, and most importantly, no decisions were made.
Thank you. Report by the director.
The only thing I have report on here, and Debbie made a red note for me, so I won't forget it, is that we still do need to make a formal appointment to the Historic Review Board Commission. I think it's Historic Review Commission. So by our ordinance, a person from RDC needs to serve on that board, or is supposed to serve on the board. I know we had kind of a small discussion about it. I don't know that we made a decision, but we do need to do that. And our public works director is working with the board very closely, and she's trying to just make sure that it's balanced right with the appropriate members.
Perfect. At this time, let's take care of that. I would entertain a motion to appoint a member of the Historic Review Board and name that person. I believe that there is one person on our commission that has exceptional
Knowledge,
construction and contractor experience. So I'm hoping she just wants to raise her hand. Go ahead.
I would like to make a nomination for Miss Wilson.
You accept? I accept. Okay. Do we have a second on the nomination of Sherry Wilson? Yep, we have a second. All right. Sherry, thank you for offering to represent us.
Thank you so much. It really is important. Thank you.
I mean, Sherry, as most of you who have followed our meetings, she has an exceptional amount of expertise that most lay people do not have. We're all good at some things. We're not good at everything. So that's her sweet spot. So thank you for stepping in. So at this time, I would entertain well, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of Sherry Wilson as our appointment to the Historic Review Board signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Thank you. Thanks, Sherry.
Thank you.
Any commissioner comments before we adjourn?
I'm just happy we'll have some common sense on the next board going forward.
Thank you. Any comments? Would you repeat it down here? They didn't hear.
I'm just happy we'll be having some common sense in the next board moving forward. There's been a lot of issues with folks trying to get stuff done, invested in downtown, and it's been very, very challenging, especially to small investors. Yeah, a lot of residents leave their home unfinished because they just want to go through that process. It's been very horrible. So I'm thinking the city is really trying to get that change so people are find a welcoming board. I want to see investments in the downtown and see all these old buildings being put back into use. So thank you.
Yeah, it's the board's mission is noble, is to respect and retain the historic buildings we have, but it can be taken as a out of context. So Sherry, you bring a lot of expertise, and we really appreciate you representing us on that board. Any other commissioner comments? Our next meeting date will be August 11th, 2025, and we look forward to seeing everyone there. At this time, I adjourn this meeting. Thank you so much for joining us at the Redevelopment Commission.